Everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron. Mario will join us in just a little bit. But joining us right now to start the show off, it's Fernando Ramirez with the Sporting Tribune. He, of course, covers the Chargers on a daily basis and gets some insight on what's going on with this team after a tough loss against the Raiders. And Fernando, we're going to start right there. Tough loss against the Raiders. They go on the road, and you look at teams that maybe the Chargers are expected to beat. This was one, I think, where Charger fans said, we're going to come into Las Vegas with the win. Unfortunately, not even close as the Raiders are able to pull this out. Looking at the Chargers right now, how do you feel postseason-wise? Is there a chance of making it to the postseason?
I mean, honestly, I thank you guys for having me. I love that little headline, Bold City's best friend. I appreciate that. I got mad love for you guys. You know what? It took a hit because everything had fallen into place for you that Sunday. The Dolphins had lost, the Patriots had lost to the Bills, the Jets had lost. So many, even the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you're not going to chase the division. You're not chasing the division anymore. But in a sense, everybody had really taken a loss in the AFC, who were at the top of the top, and you needed that win, and you weren't able to get it. And the thing is that now you go from, I think you were, if you would have won, you would have a 53% chance. Now you dropped to 33%. That's tough. And some of these teams are coming, like even the Raiders. I know they're 5-7, but they're starting to get a little bit of momentum. They're going to go into Thursday against the Rams. Who knows what's going to happen there? So the Raiders are gaining a little bit of momentum. Other teams are gaining momentum. And with the Chargers, it feels like they're kind of losing momentum. I mean, Sebastian Joseph Day, another defensive tackle, goes down. They're saying he's week to week, I think. We'll know more on Wednesday, but he might be out for a little bit. Bryce Callahan, their slot corner, who's been an ace for them this season, he may be gone for a little bit of time. So it's just rough. And then your quarterback takes 14 hits, gets sacked 5 times, was pressured, I think, over 20-something times. It was just not a good look. And I mean, let's be completely honest. The Raiders pass rush, besides Max Crosby, they're okay, but they shouldn't have been 14 quarterback hits and 5 sacks good enough to be able to do that to the Chargers, but they were able to, and they really disrupted everything that the Chargers did. But I was very surprised that Justin Herbert still threw for over 335 yards, and they almost had the game at the end. But obviously, it was a bad loss for the Chargers, and now the road gets even tougher. I think all the rest of these games are must wins if you really want to get into the postseason, and I just don't see how they win out. It's going to be very, very tough.
As you said, the offensive line was terrible last week. Zion Johnson's day-to-day, Trey Pipkins day-to-day, Mike Williams day-to-day, Corey Linsley still in concussion protocol. Do you have any feeling of any of those guys are going to play on Sunday against the Dolphins?
For some reason, there's a sense I feel like Mike might come back, Mike Williams. But I mean, a receiver is only going to do so much, especially with this weekend. You're going to face a angry Melvin Ingram, who's going to come looking for a little bit of revenge. Obviously, you have Jalen Phillips, you have Bradley Chubb, who the Chargers are very familiar with when he was with the Broncos. So they're going to need some offensive line help, and I think Zion. I'll say that I think Zion Johnson does play, but man, Braden James is one of these guys that the Chargers have been very excited about, and you look and he made Jerry Tillery look like an all-pro at one point. Like Jerry Tillery was all over him. And then obviously Zion comes back in and Jerry Tillery wasn't heard from again. He came back to reality. So it's gonna be rough if they don't have a lot of those guys, but they're getting more and more injured as the season. Usually in the past, the Phillip Rivers led teams usually got healthy in the back end, and that's why Phillip was known as Mr. December, because they would get guys healthy by the end of the back end of the season, and they'd be able to make a run. These guys are just getting more and more hurt. So it's definitely rough to see these guys, and you just don't know what's coming, because you don't know which guys are going to come back, and it's gonna be rough if they can't get a lot of these guys back.
Yeah, it's been like that all year long, right? You worry about the health of this team, and it seems like right when you start to get somebody back, someone else gets injured. Yep. It's been extremely frustrating. I know for Charger fans, I imagine if you're on the team, it's frustrating as well. Justin Herbert overall played a very good game. I mean, again, though, you look at the protection that he had compared to what Carr had, and it was night and day. It was really, to me, it was the difference in the game. And Herbert still was able to push his way through. One of the things we talked about right after the game on this show was, where's Justin Herbert's voice? Like, is he to the point where he can step up and say it doesn't matter that he's still a young guy in his early 20s, where he can't say anything? Or can he be the guy that steps up to management or in the locker room and maybe demand more?
See, I really don't. You don't know what sense you get, because Justin, everybody says that he's one of the louder voices in the locker room, one of the louder voices when it comes to Derwin, obviously on the defensive side, he has that loud voice. On the offensive side, you think it would be Justin, but I don't know if you noticed, but on Sunday he killed a lot of plays, and the plays that he would kill and go into, they were positive yardage, and they would gain a lot of yards from it. So I don't know how much. I don't know how much in like to go to management how much of a voice he has, just because I know he's young. He doesn't want to step on any toes. So maybe he has a voice that maybe he doesn't even know about. Aaron Judge goes with the San Francisco Giants. Sorry, I just saw that.
No way.
Yeah, it just broke.
Wow. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's big. Yeah.
So it definitely is interesting. And I'd like to wonder, because I remember Philip could go to the team. Drew Brees in the past could go to the front office and say stuff with Justin. I just don't know how much of a voice he has, just because he is so young, and I know he's not going to want to step on anybody's toes. But as far as leadership, I do feel like Justin is the leader of this offense. So, but you're right. I thought he had an outstanding game. He didn't have one pass where you were like, oh, that was almost a pick, or that pick was dropped or anything. He was really sure. He put the ball in good place. Even that pass to DeAndre Carter, that 4th down pass, he really put it in his hands at the end. So it was just a bad miscue there. But other than that, Justin had a really strong game.
If you were the GM of the Chargers, where would you go in the draft next year? You going offensive line, defensive line, linebacker? I feel like there's a few holes here that really need to be addressed.
Depends on who the GM is. I definitely think that I don't know if you heard what I said.
I heard what you said.
I just said it depends on who the GM is. But definitely, man, for some reason, and I know I know pass rush. They need a pass rusher, but if there's no pass rusher, you got to look at a receiver, man. It's starting to get to that point where, and I know people are going to be like a receiver, or even a tight end. I like that kid, Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. I think he'd be a good addition to this team. He blocks well. He gets open, especially with Keenan, Mike, and Joshua Palmer. He might be getting open. If the Chargers are thinking, hey, it's we need a new, younger receiver to kind of groom for when Keenan Allen eventually leaves or retires, then they need to start developing that receiver now. So definitely I would say that, and then I'd say probably cornerback. I think cornerback is another position where they really need to look at guys, because Devontae Adams isn't going anywhere. I'm sure the Chiefs in the offseason are going to add they'll add somebody, and the Broncos obviously have some good weapons. So you're gonna need some cornerback help as well. So corner, you can't go wrong with a corner, receiver, tight end, or pass rusher. Either one of those four is where I kind of would go if I was them.
Looking at the game coming up on Sunday, when it's obviously a Sunday night football game, Dolphins, Chargers, it's Tua,
the Emmanuel Ocho
Herbert.
Bowl.
Yeah. That's a good call. It's disappointing, I think, for Charger fans that the Dolphins obviously lost. You're hoping to get the Dolphins maybe on a week where they just go, you know what, we're rolling. Maybe you put your guard down a little bit. Obviously, the Dolphins don't want to lose 2 straight. No one wants to start a losing streak.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, couple questions. One is, do you know if the Dolphins traveled back from San Francisco back to Miami? They stayed in California?
They stayed in California.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if they pulled the old Bill Belichick move that he used to do that with the Patriots. And the other thing, as far as if you're the Chargers defense, what's your plan of attack against this Miami offense that can hurt you from basically 7 different directions?
Well, I mean, Teron Armstead and Austin Jackson. Well, Austin Jackson just got put on IR, the right tackle. Teron Armstead he hasn't played. He probably might not play this weekend. So I would say rush, but I mean, Khalil Mack can only do so much, especially if some of your other defensive tackles are down. So that's going to be a little bit rough. But I really don't. I don't know what your approach is. I mean, maybe maybe try and throw Derwin on Tyreek Hill at times. Try and rush Derwin a little. That's the one thing I think they missed against the Raiders. They should have thrown when your pass rush isn't getting there. Maybe throw Derwin in to kind of help, because I mean that usually kind of helps the defense out. And I think they threw Derwin in only once or twice. Derwin almost got there, but Derek Carr threw it into the ground or threw it away. So that's kind of what I would try and get to Tua, disrupt him a little bit. Guys need to put they need to put their hands up. Like, that's the thing. That's the one thing I have noticed about this defensive. Like, put your hands up, try and smash. Tua's motion starts from his hip and obviously comes up. So I'm not trying to make fun of his throwing motion or anything, but if he's throwing from right here, if you get your hands up, you're going to be able to knock it down. And that's what happens to Justin sometimes when he tries a sidearm. When Justin tries a sidearm, guys come up and they put up their hands and they're able to knock it down. So I think that's kind of their approach going into this weekend. But it's going to be tough. But the 49ers were able to disrupt Tua often over on last Sunday. So the Chargers might have to use that special, or try and see what the 49ers did to kind of disrupt him, because he was throwing a lot of passes into the ground, really wasn't getting it to his receivers. So that maybe they should use something of what the 49ers kind of did on last Sunday.
Yeah, I would take Fred Warner, Nick Bosa.
Well, I
some
mean,
of those guys that.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, there you go. Those players are obviously top notch, and they're three of the best in the league. But just try and use some of their same tactics in a sense.
Yeah, well, Nick Bosa had 3 sacks. It's one of those things when you say, well, I wish we had Joey Bosa to make an impact in this game as well. People are going to compare Herbert and Tua for their whole careers.
Okay, I'm sorry. John Heyman just tweeted out, Giants say they have not heard from Aaron Judge. My apologies for jumping the gun.
Shocker. Yeah, that never happens. If it's not from Jeff Passan, don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm done with John Heyman.
Block him. Okay, so Herbert and Tua get compared all the time, which they should. They're in the same draft class. They're drafted right by each other. If you were to take one quarterback
Justin
up to this point in their career, you're going to take Justin Herbert?
Yeah.
Why?
So one, it kind of feels like Burrow's kind of separated himself from those two, huh?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like Burrow's kind of separated himself, but Justin Herbert has the mechanics. The other thing too, longevity. Justin Herbert has been healthy most of his career. He hasn't missed a game. Yeah, he's had the rib injury, but your best quality is being able to be available. Justin's been available his whole career. He hasn't missed a game. I believe that Justin has the tools. He's smart enough. He has everything that you want in a quarterback. And then obviously people call him a flashy quarterback, but he's not just all flash. He knows exactly where to go with the football. Right now, the other day I looked up this stat. I think I saw Justin Herbert is 4th in the NFL in passing yards, and without having a single receiver in the top 40th of receiving yards. Like, wow. There's no way you can. And I mean, I'm not trying to make up like weird, like I know nowadays people try and make some weird stats like Tua, when he's starting and he finishes the game, he's 8-0 and all this. Like, I don't need any of those stats. I just need to see what I see on the field. And for me, Justin Herbert, and I mean, I know I followed him for the 3 years that he's been around and everything, but I just think this dude's special. And if the Chargers do get him the weapons and get him everything that he needs, this kid is he's gonna light it up even more than he already had. Like, if you put Herbert on Miami right now with that offense, I think Herbert would already have 5,000 yards in the season, just because that's how ridiculous the guy is. So I definitely would take Justin over Tua.
See, that's what I was saying right at the very beginning, Fernando, was when you look at Justin Herbert, at what point does he go, I don't want to be a 500 quarterback. I don't want to be that guy that's, I win as many as I lose and things are so-so and I don't make the postseason. At some point, you have to have some kind of ego on what your legacy is going to be. And you can be considered great. And I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, and again, I judge myself this, but you guys won't know, but Archie Manning was a hell of a quarterback. He played for the Saints, and they were absolutely terrible. Yet Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach are the ones that got all the publicity during that era. And Archie was a guy that always was below 500. He was very, very good. If you put him on the Cowboys and Steelers, they still would have been going to the Super Bowl. You don't want Justin to be that guy. Justin doesn't want to be that guy. And so as a fan, I'm going, at what point do you sit there and slam the desk and say, hey, I need help. This is unacceptable. I've been in the league too long. whether it's the players, the coaches, the GM, something needs to change because we keep doing the same thing year after year.
And if I can be honest, that's why Archie didn't want Eli with the Chargers.
Exactly.
He didn't want that happening to his kid, and it ended up happening to Phillip. How many times haven't we said if Phillip was with the Steelers or the Giants, they probably win more Super Bowls than what they won. So I completely understand that. And if Joe Burrow, because I think the Bengals are damn good this year. If the Bengals win a Super Bowl this year, I think the frustration might build a little bit with both, not only him, but with Tua maybe also. And but Tua has a more finished. See, that's the thing. Tua and Joe Burrow have the better weapons, if I can be completely honest. And that's the thing, is that you're kind of like, you're gonna look around, you're gonna like, that's how they attacked the Chiefs. They went with the 3 receivers and they just boom, like he just spread the ball around. He did really well. And then Tua does the same thing with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek Hill, even that other kid that had that 75-yard touchdown reception. He's pretty good as well. So I can see where you're going with that. Now the frustration, I think, like I said, if one of these guys wins the Super Bowl before he does, then I think you'll get a little bit like, hey, like what, like we need a pressure, we need to move it on. Now my question is gonna be, and I mean, people like will make fun of me for it, but I'm seriously questioning, could he be a Tom Brady where he says, you know what, I'll take 30 a year and put everything more towards the team when it's time for him to sign his extension, or will he sign a big time extension? That's really where what I want to see. I want to see if what he decides to do there, but definitely I think the frustration may build if Burrow or Tua wins a Super Bowl, but definitely, I mean, he's a team guy first. He's always said that, and he really is. I mean, he's always staying after practice, working out with guys, talking over with guys. He walks over to Keenan's locker, walks over to Mike's locker, like they talk about stuff, and you can definitely tell he's a team guy. He wants to get better. He wants to make sure that the team gets better. So I'm interested to see kind of what happens in the next few weeks with not only him but with this team.
What's your score prediction for Sunday? How do you see this one playing out between the Chargers and the Dolphins? Be honest. I know. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to say Dolphins 31, Chargers 27.
So pretty close.
I just think that the Dolphins that's why they put the Chargers on national TV. The Chargers are not boring. They're going to give you a fun, entertaining game. They'll always give you something. But I just think that the Dolphins have a little bit too much on defense. They have a lot on offense, and the Chargers are still losing players. There's a lot of question marks on who's going to play. But overall, I think 10 outplays 1. But I still think that the Dolphins will win the game. So, but it's gonna be an interesting matchup, to be honest. I'm actually excited to kind of see these guys go toe to toe, head to head.
I tell you what, if the NFL Rules Committee ever changes the rules from 15-minute quarters to 13-minute quarters, the Chargers are going to make the playoffs. Things always will work out.
I don't know about that. I don't even know if that rule change would
it won't. Of course it won't. Of course it won't. It's like when Yogi Berra used to say, man, if they move first base back one foot, there'll be no more close plays at first. You know, it's the same thing. It's ridiculous. Hey, Fernando, again, thank you so much for the time, man. We love talking to you, and I appreciate you joining us.
Of course, anytime. Like I told you guys, whenever you guys need me, I'm always available. So I appreciate you guys, and have a good rest of your guys' week.
Thank you very much. Take care. That's Fernando Ramirez again with the Sporting Tribune. Nice enough to join us, talk Charger football as they head into the game on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. And we'll get into more breaking down the Dolphins and stuff like that, guys, as Mario rejoins the show. But you asked his prediction, Josh, and he picked the Dolphins to win this game. As we stand right now, recording this show, do you feel that this is a week the Chargers have the advantage, or a week the Dolphins have the advantage?
The Dolphins have the advantage. I don't think anybody outside of Charger fans are picking the Chargers. I don't even know if the Charger fans are picking the Chargers. What would give you confidence in what we saw against the Raiders that the Chargers would be any better against the Miami Dolphins? He mentioned it right there. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, all these guys they have on the D-line. Melvin Ingram, he's going to be pissed off. If we couldn't stop the guys in the Raiders that haven't done anything all season, what makes you think we can stop these guys?
Yeah, I'm terrified for this game. Literally for so many different ways. Like if the Dolphins would have beaten the Niners this past weekend, I think I would have felt a little bit better. But the fact that they didn't, and they lost to a third string quarterback of the 49ers where, things kind of bounce their ways with facing a backup. And then now they're in a must-win spot for the playoffs. I'm not feeling good. And I was the guy that always wanted the Dolphins. I thought the Dolphins would be a perfect spot for us. And I'm going to eat my words. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I'm going to really eat my crap when this comes Sunday for that one.
You know, they just have so many weapons. That's what scares you. I mean, we've talked about this Dolphin game on the schedule for a while now and all the weapons that they have. And the Dolphins had some guys that were banged up going into the 49er game. Every team has injuries, right? But they have so many weapons and they can hurt you. Josh, you brought up the fact how fast the Dolphins are, how they might have 4 of the fastest guys in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball. They're scary, especially when you see how the Charger defense hasn't been able to step up, hasn't been able to either put pressure on the quarterback consistently or poor linebacker play. You name it. It just hasn't gone very well for the Chargers. Defensive backs, everything that you can point at where this game could get ugly really fast. And that's the thing that scares me the most going into the game. And as much as if it was college football, I'd say there's going to be a blowout. But that's not the way the NFL works. I think it will be much closer. Maury, I know you always have your finger on the odds. Do you know what the odds are right now as we're about 5 days out from kickoff? I'm curious.
I saw it opened at Dolphins -3. Let me check if it's changed at all. And yeah, it's still at -3. Chargers on the money lines +145. The over/under is 52. So pretty high over and under.
I think kind of like I do too. I kind of like the over on that.
I mean, I don't know. We put up 1 touchdown against the Raiders this past week.
But we gave up a lot of touchdowns.
yeah, spin zone. We did give up a lot of touchdowns.
Okay, so obviously the Dolphins are talented. There's no secret there. This reminds me a little bit of when we play the 49ers. It's like, who's going to beat you? They have so many different options. Jalen Waddle was shut down last game. Fernando mentioned that you need to do whatever the 49ers did. Obviously, from a talent perspective, we don't have what the 49ers have, but we can always go from a scheme perspective, kind of copy them and see whatever they did there. Tyreek Hill, no matter what you do to Jalen Waddle, whatever Jalen Waddle does, Tyreek Hill seems to go off every week. He leads the NFL in receiving yards, over 1,300 already. He's the guy that really scares me. Asante Samuel Jr. has actually given up, I think, maybe the most touchdowns or the second most touchdowns for every cornerback in the NFL. He hasn't been exactly locked down. He's also been targeted maybe the most out of any cornerback in the NFL. So I think that's the big matchup there is Tyreek Hill and whoever's going up against him.
Yeah, I mean, so many different weapons that they have. They can kill you in the running game. They can kill you with the short passes. I mean, even Gesicki, I think, is a better than average tight end. And the Dolphins are games where they don't even use them. I mean, there are times where all of a sudden he comes through and you say, man, didn't realize that guy was that good. But it's almost like the Dolphins can kill you, 8 different ways. It is very tough to watch this team as good as they are. I know that the Chargers defense is banged up. Very, very frustrating. I don't know what the Chargers are, man. I go back to what Josh said. I think it was week 2. You said, what is the identity of this team? And as guys continue to get hurt, I keep thinking in my mind that is a question. I'm still not sold on what is the identity of the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out every single day. It's like one of the biggest mysteries in the world. What they call like the 9 unsolved whatever myths in the world? I don't know, some Greek probably weird thing. But it's like one of those things. Like what's going on with the Chargers? Like what is it? Because right now it feels like our goal and our thing right now is we can't stop the run. You can get anything you want on us, and we prey on Justin Herbert being Superman. That's just honestly what it seems like is our identity right now. With the Dolphins, the thing I'm scared of is honestly might not be as much Waddle and Hill, which that is something we should be scared about. But it's that McDaniels is a Shanahan disciple. And what does Shanahan do better than, I'd argue, almost everyone else in the NFL is he creates the best schemes for the run game. Just magical schemes. And there's so much detail in it. You're just smiling ear to ear seeing this defense. If you're McDaniels with everything you've learned under Shanahan, they're going to carve us up just every ways to Sunday on just about every play. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not look forward to this game at all. I have zero faith in the Chargers come this weekend. It's not because of the loser Raiders fans who are commenting on YouTube who should probably get a life if you're doing this at like 2 p.m. on a work day. Let's get to work, fellas. But it's just more of I don't trust our defense at all going up against a very sharp offensive mind and a pretty good quarterback with 2 of the best receivers in the NFL.
Raheem Mostert averages 53 yards. Sorry, Jeff Wilson averages 52. So that means they're both going to rush for 100 yards against the Chargers. It's a great point though Mario makes, because if you really focus on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're just going to run you to death. So I don't know Dave, what would you do if you were the defense? Is there any type of scheme you would want to run, focus on any certain player?
Okay, it's so funny. I've been thinking about this the whole time. As soon as Mario rejoined the show, is when you face a team like the Titans, you go and Derrick Henry's the guy that's going to sit there and basically keep punching you in the face, right? You know exactly where it's going to hurt from. That Derrick Henry's the guy, and he's not easy to stop. Otherwise, other teams in the NFL would do it. It's like fighting a fighter with one big right hand. You know what he has. The Dolphins, to me, are that team that with so many different weapons, they can just carve you up. And that's what scares me the most. I don't think this Charger defense is built to deal with the Miami offense. And I just don't know which way they go. When you talk about the Dolphins and their offensive-minded coach, who is kind of funny, man. I've watched a lot of his press conferences, and I've paid attention to the Dolphins probably more than any team in the NFL this year, just because I kind of find it fascinating with everything with Brian Flores leaving and Tua stepping in to be the guy with a coach that believes in him when things look so bad, about 10 months ago with this Dolphins team, and talk about lawsuits and everything that was going to happen with Flores getting out of there. That McDaniels comes in there as a guy that as an offensive genius, but not an offensive genius as they say in the passing game. We hear all the time about great offensive coordinators, McVay, Shanahan. Any of these guys that are supposed to be these offensive geniuses is way ahead of their time. He's supposed to be an offensive genius through the running game. And so, yeah, the passing game is what we see in the highlights all the time. But, Josh, you just brought it up with Wilson and Mostert. Those guys are extremely dangerous, and they can catch the ball out of the backfield. There's so many different things out there that this is one of those where I just goes, the defense completely gassed by the fourth quarter. Like, what do you do? I mean, really, when Bill Belichick uses the phrase, do your job, this is one of those games where all 11 guys have to do their job every play and can't get burned or get embarrassed. Otherwise, this thing's going to get way out of hand.
Thank God this isn't a bowl game like Alabama where you have 15 guys transfer out. Everybody's in the transfer portal. You only have like 30 guys on the whole team. You're like, God, dude, we're so tired. We need oxygen on this side. We have nobody on this team. But yeah, man, it's scary. And then you look at last week's game against the Raiders. I want to touch on that because I'm still pissed off. Jerry Tillery, so the Chargers were the problem. We're like, this guy's crazy. You're the problem. And you cut him. He gets signed by the Raiders. And then he just goes off against the Chargers with six pressures. Dude, that really bothers me. It's like, are we crazy? Because if that guy could have helped us in the Raider game, the team that we just played, the team that he's on, why are we getting rid of these guys? We aren't good enough to cut guys like Jerry Tillery. And it's going to hurt us the rest of the season. I think not having Jerry Tillery there is a huge mistake.
It's a huge mistake, and it was showed greatly this past weekend why it was a mistake. And it just goes to show that the Chargers aren't heading in a great direction, and it's a continuing pattern. And it's frustrating too, like on the Chargers side, you're going to face Tillery coming up. He's going to get his revenge. How about a little revenge on our side? How about you guys show up a little pissed off in that game? If I'm facing a guy that I've, played football with and he just went to a different team at whatever level, I know he's going to want to beat the living breaks off of me. So I'm going to try to beat the living breaks off of him first. And the fact that felt like it was retaliated or, even put in effort is a very worrisome thing for the Chargers. It's like, where's our attitude as a team? Where's our, I almost sounded so old right there, like a 65-year-old man saying swagger, like it's 2009. But where is like kind of that attitude of the team? Where is that? And it just seems like it's just not there. And that's just not going to work in this league.
Tillery wanted to show that the Chargers made a mistake. I mean, he came out on fire in the first quarter, right? We're all looking at him going, whoa, this is the best we've ever seen him play. And then he looked like, the old Tillery that kind of just disappeared, and wondering why the Chargers took him in as a first-round pick. But he came out angry. He definitely came out angry. We mentioned Melvin Ingram earlier in the show. Look at every team Melvin Ingram has played on since he left the Chargers. When he faces the Chargers, you can't help but find him again, right? When he was with the Steelers, there he is. When he's with the Chiefs, there he is. You don't think he's going to step into SoFi Stadium on Sunday night against the Chargers and think the same thing, that it's time for me to get you? You guys made a mistake. When I was on this team, it was supposed to be Bosa and me, and we were the ones that were going to do damage, but I'm the guy that's shown the door. Oh, okay, I'm the problem. That's fine. He wants to prove on Sunday night the Chargers made a mistake once again. And anyone who's ever been around Melvin Ingram, man, guy worked his rear end off. Plus, he was one of the nicest guys. He was a great locker room guy to have in there. And yet the Chargers said, you know, we have better ideas, and you aren't part of them. He's coming in angry. You're going to see his name mentioned over and over again on Sunday night. Guarantee it.
Absolutely. They asked Brandon Staley about the pass rush against the Raiders last game. He said, yeah, it was tough out there. The rush was coming. The pressure was getting to Herbert. They had a lot of different designer looks. No, they didn't. They just sent everybody to the quarterback. They brought a lot of cover zero tonight. There was a lot of different personnel groupings in there. There was a lot of people in there. And I thought we did it. I thought there were good times, and there were a lot. Sometimes it was a little bit leaky. I can't read. But what I'm trying to say is, against the Dolphins, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to put Xavier Howard on Keenan Allen. They think Xavier Howard's the best corner in the NFL. They're going to put him on Keenan Allen, and they're going to bring the house. This is going to be a long day for Justin Herbert if we can't get Corey Linsley back, Trey Pipkins, who wasn't even that good when he was healthy, and Zion Johnson. If we can't get 2 of the 3 linemen back, I don't think the Chargers really have a chance if they're sending 8 guys. We just don't have the guys to block them.
We don't have the guys to block them, and we don't have any checks for cover zero. Cover zero. We don't have anything, which is just I just still can't get over. And then 2, it just that that press conference when he was talking about the cover zero almost looked like he was like surprised. Raiders run the most cover zero in the NFL. I don't know. Let's just prepare. That's like playing Syracuse in basketball, going, "Oh, I can't believe they're in 2-3 zone." Huh. You're like, dude, what film are you watching? Parents been there, like it's insanity. Like that part just pisses me off to no end. And to your point about Melvin, yeah, it's gonna be the same thing till all over again. It's what we thought Mac was gonna do. Facing his old team. It's exactly what I thought he was gonna do. He shoved I think Carr out of bounds, and he was in his ear a little bit. And I go, here we go, the Mac show. Never mind, that was canceled after 1 season apparently. So that went away, and it's something that worries me again. It's the Ingram thing, the revenge on that part. You hope on the flip side that Herbert is hearing the noise of him versus Tua, and like Fernando just said, Burrow's kind of just above and beyond on that conversation with his recent success. So you hope on that side you have Herbert who's hearing all this and going, you know what, I'm going to shut everybody up today. He might have better offense, better coaching staff around him, but who really gives a damn? I'm the better player, and I'm going to really show it. And I just like the classic Chargers, I think that's what they're going to bank on. Come to Saturday. I mean, come to Sunday. Wow. Brain dead.
Here's the issue though with the quarterback thing, right? I mean, we all know, it's Herbert against Tua. That's how it's going to be built. NBC is going to go about it the whole time about these 2 guys, where one was drafted and back to back, and who's the better quarterback. They do comparisons nonstop between these 2 quarterbacks. It's a great storyline, and hopefully it's a storyline that goes for the next 10 years. That means Herbert's doing something right. Okay. So when these 2 guys are going at it, they aren't dumb. I mean, it's not like Herbert's going to play defense against Tua, or Tua's playing defense against Herbert. When the schedule came out, just being a competitor, they both saw this on here. Tua saw Chargers. Herbert saw Dolphins. They circled this. They know what this game means. This isn't the first time in their careers how this works. They go through this kind of stuff in college. And you go, hey, I want to show I'm the guy. Then when this thing got flexed to Sunday Night Football, the most highly viewed game of the week, this is one where these guys go, this is what it's all about. When it's all over and the report cards come out, nobody wants to be embarrassed. I almost think that this might sound bad, but ego-wise, that the individual stats are more important than the wins and losses for either one of these guys on which guy outplayed the other quarterback.
Okay, if you're Justin Herbert, would you rather play really bad and your team wins, or you play really good and your team loses?
As a fan, I want to rather see him play really bad and they win. As if I'm Justin Herbert, I'd rather play really well and I'll take the loss.
But your biggest knock is that you don't win. So
yeah, he doesn't win. That's because he can blame it on everyone else. I did my job. It's the
rest story of his career to this point.
And it sounds like he's an egomaniac, or it sounds like I'm an egomaniac by answering the question that way. But yeah, I think honestly, if the Chargers lost and Justin Herbert, let's say, is some crazy thing like 38 for 48 and throws for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns, there's no one walking away going, Justin Herbert's the problem. He's a great quarterback. And what would the Miami Dolphins be if the Dolphins had an opportunity to get Herbert instead. That's just my opinion.
Okay, Mario. If let me ask you this question then: If you're Justin Herbert, who would you rather have back? 2 linemen, you get to pick whichever lineman you want, or Mike Williams.
The story of this year, and I'd look at just everything else. I'd go lineman. I need protection. Who cares if I have Mike Williams back if I can't get the ball out and I don't have a time for 2 seconds to set my feet to make a throw? Like if I don't have that, then what the hell is Williams going to do even out there? Like it's yeah, I definitely take the lineman. And to your point, I think if as a fan, I'd honestly rather see Herbert have a great game and lose than him have a bad game and win. Because I think the narrative still wouldn't change on either side about the Tua argument, and people now jump on the Tua's bandwagon, which is very funny that people are just really riding that one now. But yeah, I think I would take the lineman back.
I'd rather have the lineman too. You nailed it right on the head. If you don't have time to throw the ball, you could have Randy Moss in his prime out there. It's not going to mean a damn thing. We can't get the ball out. Yeah, I mean, we've also seen the Chargers defense is historically bad against the run. I think it's the worst run defense in modern NFL history. I could be wrong. Dude, it's like 5.51 yards per carry, which is absolutely unreal. If you're the other team, why don't you just run the ball every time? You're going to get a first down in 2 runs. Like, I'm not great at math, but I can figure that one out. Just run the ball literally every single time. We're not going to stop you. I don't know. The Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor thing coming up is going to be very, very interesting. The fact that we didn't sign Ndamukong Suh, who looks pretty damn good on the Eagles, and a couple other guys makes no sense.
Eric Fisher? Eric Fisher, who's just signed by the Dolphins. I mean,
former number one pick, used to play in your division, would have made a whole lot of sense, but we don't do things to make a whole lot of sense. So I don't know.
Get nuts. All right, I want to ask you guys, because we have less than 10 minutes here, but I want to ask you about the quarterback situation in the NFL. Quarterbacks are always a fun conversation. One is Baker Mayfield. Okay, Josh, I'll let you tell the story because this happened right before we went on there today about Baker Mayfield.
Okay, this pumps me up. So obviously the Rams and 49ers hate each other. My opinion, it's the best rivalry in the NFL when both teams are good. Steelers, Ravens, fantastic. But when the Rams, maybe it's because I'm from California, but when the Rams and 49ers hate each other, I just love the animosity between these two teams because they really do hate each other. Like the players hate each other. 49er fans are crazy. Fan bases hate each other. Rams fans are crazy. So obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo's out for the season, and they need a quarterback. They had Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft, as their quarterback. He actually looked pretty good, but they still need a quarterback. So Baker Mayfield gets cut. 49ers are planning on bringing him in. I think they're 25th on the waiver wire, and the Rams are like 22nd or something. And the Rams pick him up. Or the Rams might have been way higher. Whatever. They're ahead of the 49ers. But the Rams pick him up, which is freaking hilarious because they really don't need a quarterback because they're kind of tanking for the draft anyway, even though they're probably giving up all their picks. But still, they're just trying to, looking forward to the draft. But the fact that they blocked the 49ers from getting Baker Mayfield, I thought was hilarious. I love the little things like that in the NFL.
I saw that today and I started dying laughing. I was working socials. I was like, there's no way McVay wanted Baker that bad. There's just no shot at all. It's just a little mess with Shanahan a little bit, mess with Niners. I'm all for it. Screw the Niners. You kind of had too many things going for you. You need something bad to go for you. You need a little bad luck. So I'm all for it, man. And I'll push back second best rivalry in NFL.
Okay. What do you got?
As silly as Bears Packers. I mean, the last time I went to a game, I got spit on.
Packers have won 8 in a row.
What outside of 2008 and 85? When have the Bears been relevant?
Okay, first off, the whole Heron family just broke about almost everything in the kitchen. Hearing that from Dave Palais. It's one of the best rivalries. It's 1 and 2 in most wins in NFL history. It's been tough for definitely one side, but dude, if you ever go to a game, it's very tense. Very tense.
I believe it. I believe it. Where do the Vikings fall into that category? The Vikings will say the same thing, that the Packers and Vikings are a big rivalry.
Yeah, well, try to live in Minnesota and you're just mad at You know, everyone's your rival when you live in Minnesota.
This is some great ones because again, Cleveland will tell you they hate Pittsburgh. Cleveland hates Cincinnati. There's so many good ones, obviously, in the NFL. As Josh said, being in California, this is obviously a big one. But I tell you, from where we are right now, 2,000 miles away from you, Mario, everyone's listening to your total win thing and going, win. I mean, let's talk. You're talking before the Super Bowl era. The Packers, as good as they were in the late 60s, did nothing in the 70s. The Bears haven't done anything except for 2 seasons since I've been alive. What the hell's going on here? All right, I'm not going to win this argument.
I got one question to you, though. I got 2 questions, actually. Who's more pissed off about the Baker Mayfield thing? Baker Mayfield himself or the 49ers? Baker Mayfield's like, everybody hates me. Everybody hates me. My mom hates me. My dad hates me. Because I'm going to go to the 49ers, and I'm just going to light it up. I have the best team ever. And then the Rams claim him. You're like, oh, my God, things cannot get worse for me. And my second question is, do the 49ers take a look at Philip Rivers?
Oh.
See, I love that, but I don't think they do. I would love that so much if Philip Rivers got a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Me too.
I would like that. Shoot. I'd imagine. Look, honestly, I bet Baker's a little relieved in terms of this is just in terms of this is I miss out on a situation where I could really mess up a playoff team and people could hate me more.
Like I like be hated more. Is it possible? It's pretty.
I think it could. I mean, if you guys say San Francisco fans are as bad as they come, I think they would have a field day with Baker if he came in there and stunk. And please call Father Phil San Francisco. I'd love to see Father Phil back in there. When dadgummit, we got to throw football today, Shanahan.
All right, so here's the other quarterback question for you, Mario. This is why I brought it up, because you're in Indianapolis. Josh brought this up to me yesterday. It was the rumor that could the Colts possibly release Matt Ryan to give them a chance to pick, for the 49ers, a chance to pick up Matt Ryan, who is already familiar with what the Niners offense is.
You know, if this was
that a storyline?
If this was like a month ago, I think I would say no shot at all. Irsay's too competitive. He wants to win. Now, after everything, I legitimately do not know what the hell Irsay is even going to do. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, they're practically already threw it away, putting in Saturday as head coach. I would personally like to move because I just feel bad for Matt Ryan because he just gets it is abuse what the Colts are doing to him. Like, you should arrest half that team and go, what you've done to Matt Ryan's just terrible. You shouldn't do that to any human being. I'm all for it. Give Matt Ryan one more chance. Like, there's moments, say what you want. This year, he does look like still a pretty good quarterback, still a quarterback that can make plays. He's just in an awful system. He's with someone that hasn't called plays until 2 weeks ago. The only time he's called plays is on Madden. Then he's got a guy that just coached high school football, got the crap beat out of him. And then, what's he going to do? Michael Pittman's his number 1 receiver. I would love the situation. I don't know if it will happen at all. It's not really a storyline picked up in Indy. I know Indy media kind of love Matt Ryan, but Indy media love anybody. They tend to be the nicest people when it comes to sports, which is very stupid. But that's a conversation.
Dude, I felt bad last night for Andy Dalton. If anybody watched that Saints-Buccaneers game, he was dropping dimes out there. People weren't bringing him in. Chris Olave dropped one, and then
Jarvis Landry.
Dude, he's supposed to have the best one hand, right? Him and OBJ always talk about we catch everything with the one hand. Bullcrap, dude. It's a perfect pass. And then Tom Brady looked terrible all night. Of course, he gets the game-winning touchdown. But the abuse on old quarterbacks this year has been unreal with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan. All these guys have been getting their asses kicked all season.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers deserves it, though. I'm fine with that.
I agree.
That.
There's a lot of weird things.
What?
Dude, we all agree on that. We all agree with the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco. Aaron Rodgers is a mess, and kind of feel like it's his time has come around. You think Aaron Rodgers would have learned something from watching how Brett Favre messed it up on his way out the door, and Aaron Rodgers was like, "Hold my beer, watch this. I'm going to irritate the entire fan base of all these people that wear my number 12 jersey, and we're going to make it so we got to get rid of Devontae Adams because of me." I mean, there's major issues there as well. God dang, that's crazy. All right, so look, in 2 days when we come back and we do our next show, we're going to preview more of this Dolphin-Charger matchup. And you got something to say?
Yeah, I got one more thing for you guys.
Go ahead.
So, I'm I keep getting an alert in my email that there's these comments popping up on YouTube. I'm like, "Dude, what the hell's going on?" Click on it. There's Raider fans. I just want to tell them right now, shut up. First off, because it's not gonna happen. There's Raider fans that think they're making the playoffs. I think there's a way.
There's a way.
They think there's a way. Which is if you can go to sleep, all good. Do that for you. But just remember you lost to Jeff Saturday. So that I just wanted to get that out there of the very stupid idiot people that are commenting at like 1 p.m. on a weekday. So definitely don't have a job. You're definitely not employed. And then you are saying that you're going to the playoffs, and then it makes sense that you're not employed because you're speaking nonsense. I can't imagine what you do besides that. Just want to get that out there. It's the stupidest thing I've heard.
Might be Jeff Saturday's only win in his entire NFL coaching career was that win against the Raiders right there. All right, in 2 days when we come back, though, and we talk more about the game coming up on Sunday night, Dolphins, Chargers. The one thing, and I'm giving you time, I didn't put you on the spot today, Mario, because I didn't know if you heard me say it the other day, but I'm dying to know how we did when we pick games with the spread. So we're going to knock that out on Thursday as well. But again, exciting time. I know as the Chargers take on the Dolphins, hopefully I have a little bit more news on what's going on in the injury front. Right now, things seem to be heading in the direction we expect to see Mike Williams, which if you're a Charger fan, man, you hope to see Mike Williams out on the field. It'd just be great to see Mike Williams on the field for an entire game with Keenan Allen, with Josh Palmer, with Everett, just to see all the weapons at one time work, even if the offensive line's not that good, just to see something to give Herbert a chance. I'm expecting a high-scoring game Sunday. I think it's going to be exciting. We'll see which way it plays out. We'll talk more about it. Of course, Thursday leading into the big contest, Sunday Night Football. For Josh Pele, Mario Heron, I'm Dave Pele. Again, thanks for listening to the Bolt City Podcast, courtesy of Odyssey.